I'm gonna share with you my top tips for making this as painless as possible. Trust me, there's a few things that I didn't know at the very beginning that I wish that I did know to prevent a whole bunch of headaches. So stick around and we're gonna walk through my top tips. But first, I'm gonna walk you through exactly what you need to make sure this is as successful as possible. It's also important to note that this process applies to basically any type of outdoor Christmas decorating you might do, whether it's a tree or a bush or shrub. You basically need to follow these steps to make sure that it's as painless as possible. You're gonna need a ladder, a few extension cords, some sort of timer, electrical tape, scissors, and lights. A whole bunch of lights. So one thing you got to consider when you're putting up Christmas lights is when to put up Christmas lights. There's a whole bunch of Grinches around the world that say, respect Thanksgiving. You know, I'm all for Thanksgiving, but just because I decorate outside doesn't mean that I can't respect Thanksgiving as well. You could always just leave them off if you want to. But today's November 12th and I'm putting up the Christmas lights. So I'm gonna have them up for a solid month and a half or so. Probably around New Year's is when I take them down. So the earlier I can put them up, the better. And again, if you leave them off, at least as family events start ratcheting up towards Thanksgiving, you've already got them up and you don't have to deal with it in that really busy season between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Step number one, make sure your outlet's working. I like to pull over an extension cord, plug it into the outlet, and then find a bundle of cords that's, you know, close that you can plug it in. Make sure that you've got power, because I've done. Tip number two, and this is a big one, make sure that your outlet, whatever you're combining it into, is off the ground and protected from the rain. I like this timer because it also has multiple ports that I can plug into. Right along here, there's about 6 different ports, so I've got plenty of space to attach extension cords and then string lights to this tree. But make sure it stays dry. A couple years ago, I did not. I left it on the ground, just like a regular power strip, and I kept having to reset the thing over and over and over again because water getting in between there would trip the outlet. And I didn't know about tip number 3. Tip number 3, and this one's kind of a pain, but you're gonna need to wrap each one of the connections, whether it's connections between string to string or extension cord to string, in some sort of tape. I use electrical tape because I know it's water resistant. So what I do is just cut up a whole bunch of little strips and I will run them all the way along this ladder, probably, you know, this long, maybe 3 or 4 inches. And so I've just got them all pre-cut right here. So when I'm working up in the tree or I'm working along the edge right here, I've already got them cut. I can just walk over and pull one right off and wrap. But things like on the ground, like this right here, you really want to make sure that that is completely watertight. Otherwise, it's going to be a pain. You know, invariably Christmas Eve, it will be raining and that will get water into it and it'll flip and you'll have to wait like 24 to 48 hours for that thing to dry. So make sure that you keep these things dry. Tip number 4, or at least I think it's tip number 4, is to know your light strings. Okay, so when I first wrapped this entire tree, maybe 4 years ago or so, I wrapped it on one string. And what I mean by that is I connected an entire string of light cords all, you know, back to back to back. I didn't know that you could kind of overload the cords. So what I do is I put about 2 or 3 on a chain, so to speak. So I'll connect 2 or 3 different light strings, and then I will run another extension cord from the connector that I showed you at the base of the tree. I'll run an extension cord up to where I'm starting the next cord. That way I'm not overloading the string itself and I don't blow a fuse or something like that and make it cut off again. I spent about a week one time trying to figure out what was going on with those. I changed all the fuses, I changed everything in the strings, and all I had to do was break apart that chain a little bit more and you'll be good to go. So tip number 5, and this one might be a no-brainer to you, but make sure that you're putting these on with the lights on. Another bad example is the second year I did this. Obviously the first year, most of them were right out of the box, so they were working. But the second year, some of them had been sitting in a box for a while, and I did not try them out when I was putting them on. So the 3rd and 4th years, I started making sure that it was completely plugged in as I was wrapping this tree. Otherwise, you'll have to redo a lot of the work you've already done. So tip number 6 or 7 or whichever one we're on is about putting them back together. I always leave this end, the male end, on the outside when I'm wrapping it. So I wrap the female end inside and twirl and twirl and twirl so that when I'm putting it on, I can start with this male end and immediately connect it to another one. and then continue wrapping around the tree itself. But I have, again, done it in reverse, and it was a complete pain in the butt because I had to unwrap the entire spool, or, you know, ball of lights, and then wrap as it was completely unraveled, which was an absolute mess. So this makes it a whole lot easier and a whole lot more compact when you're trying to wrap again the next year. One branch down, few to go. Another tip I forgot is I put some of that tape up on the bill of my hat when I'm doing this, so that when I'm up in the tree, I don't have to climb back down and grab one of these. I can just pull it right off my hat bill and then wrap the connector. Another tip, guys, with this is when you're lighting this tree, I don't like for it to look like the lights all just stop at one level. I try to have some going a little bit higher up on the tree than others, so it's more of like maybe a natural look. I don't know. It's really hard to tell if I've been successful in that unless you know, the sun goes down. So I might make some minor adjustments. I've got some extra strands that I'll just run up really wide wraps up until the point where I feel like it needs a little bit more height to give that variation. But for now, it's looking pretty good. All right, guys, so the tree is fully lit or lighted, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to work on some of these landscaping bushes, but the main event is finally done. Took about, I don't know, 3 hours and probably 13 to 14 strands of lights. Guys, thanks so much for checking out this week's video. Again, if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that subscribe button, maybe the like button. It lets YouTube know that people are interested in what we're putting out. So if you could help us out, that'd be awesome. Also, join our email list. We're giving away a different product every single month. In the month of November, we're giving away the awesome Ego 765 CFM blower, the most powerful handheld blower on the market right now. And in the month of November, I'll give you a little hint, it's going to be awesome. Several different products, actually. So make sure that you are subscribed and join our email list.